Okay, here we have to solve this equation. 1 over x minus 3 plus 4 over x plus 2 is equal to 5 over x squared minus x minus 6. So the first thing we want to do is get rid of all these denominators. And so we want to find sort of what's often called the lowest common multiple of the denominator. In other words, what number could we multiply by so that all the denominators get cleared? And so to define this, it's easy to do a first step and do some pre-factoring. Factor this quadratic into two binomials. So you can see it's x minus 3 times x plus 2. And then once we do that, you can notice that if we multiplied both sides of the equation by x minus 3 and x plus 2, well, that would cancel out this one, that would cancel out this one, and it would cancel out these two. And so let's do that. So multiply the first term by, again, x minus 3 times x plus 2. The x minus 3 would cancel, but the x plus 2 would not. So we would have x plus 2 times 1. That's simply x plus 2. Here, the x plus 2s would cancel, but the x minus 3s would not. Kind of the other way around. So we'll have 4 times x minus 3. And here, both the x minus 3 and the x plus 2s would cancel. And so we're just left with 5. And so now all we have is a linear equation, which we can solve for x. So here we go. I'm going to distribute the 4 to both the x and the negative 3. So 4 times x is 4x. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. I'm going to collect like terms on the left. X plus 4x is 5x. 2 minus 12 is negative 10. Add 10 to both sides. So on the right, we get 5 plus 10. That's 15. And then finally, divide both sides by 5, and we get x is equal to 3. However, you have to check with rational equations, or you have to check, does this answer work with the original equation? And you can see if we plug in here, if you plug in x equals 3, we're going to divide by 0 in this fraction, and also over here, right? If we plug in x equals 3, we're going to have 3 minus 3, that's 0, times anything is 0, and so we're dividing by 0 in both cases. And so this is actually not a solution. So we say that even though we solve for x plus 3 at the end, cross that out, that's not a real solution, and we see there's no solution to this equation.